Hello everyone, welcome to the next disease of respiratory tract, and that is emphysema. As you all know, we have already studied about COPD, which includes emphysema as one of the standing reason for progress of COPD. Emphysema has been known to those patients who are habitual of smoking, and also it has been known that those who are exposed to continuous coal dust or dust in any form, that is a occupational disorder or diseases occurring due to an occupation, particular occupation, they suffer from emphysema. Today we are going to look into the types of emphysema, also their causes, and what is the pathogenesis behind it. So, what is the clinical presentation? See, emphysema, how it is defined, we'll see it later. But if we see what are the clinical presentations, it's quite clear. The first is dyspnea, is difficulty in breathing. And when we consider a disease which is related to a respiratory disorder, and we want to know that if particular diseases produces what type of symptom, here we have dyspnea. The other is recurrent respiratory infections. Recurrent respiratory infections means the person would be prone for getting pneumonia or any other form of infections of lungs and related tissues. Also we find a condition of cor pulmonale, here it is referred as right heart failure, which is also a clinical feature or an advanced complication of emphysema. What are the pulmonary changes, or what are the changes that we see in the lungs? Or if you want to remember emphysema, then this statement itself is sufficient to explain you what is emphysema. Seized air spaces in the lungs. Now to explain it a bit more, you all know that our lung is a tissue, is an organ in fact. It's basically an organ which have a function of exchange of gases. And in order to facilitate this exchange of gases, alveoli are present. They are sac-like structures, and they increase the surface area for exchange of gases. But we'll see the reasons ahead. But due to reasons, it can be a variable reason. Those reasons what they will do is, they will destroy that surface area, or they will destroy those alveoli and increase the air spaces in lung. Air spaces in lungs means those alveoli, they are very minute structures. They will destroy its wall and make it a bigger air space there. So this is how we define the pulmonary changes of emphysema. Now, it's not just that emphysema is the only reason for enlargement of the air spaces, but we have types also of it. That is, simple airspace enlargement can also be present, which can be due to congenital reason or the acquired reason. Then it can be emphysema, proximal acinar emphysema, pan-acinar emphysema, and distal emphysema. We will these three types and detailed photographs of them, that how does they exactly appear. And there is an airspace enlargement with fibrosis that is associated with focal scar in the lungs, and also associated with intestinal pneumonia and honeycombing. Honeycombing is, there is these airspace resembles an honeycomb, so there would be destruction of those air spaces. So these are the three types in which we are actually today we are going to look only into this emphysema part. Emphysema, how do you define it? It's very clear-cut definition. It is abnormal permanent enlargement of air spaces distal to the terminal bronchiole, accomplished by destruction of their wall and without obvious fibrosis. So there is a destruction of the wall of alveoli associated with this enlargement of the air spaces. Enlargement of the air spaces and destruction of the wall. This spaces increase in spaces, there is a measurement to it that is more than 1 mm, which is which we will considered as the abnormal one. So if the spaces are getting increased due to destruction in the wall, and that is how we define as emphysema. And what is the measurement? The measurement here is important, that is 1 mm or more than 1 mm is required. So emphysema causes dilatation of air spaces by destruction of alveolar wall, leading to collapse of alveoli during expiration. Now this is a marked clinical feature that is to explain that how collapse of alveoli will occur. This collapse of alveoli is due to destruction of air spaces. That is, if alveoli are present, we'll see into the pictorial diagram, I would be able to explain you better there. Then comes emphysema and overinflation. They are two different terms, but exactly the manifestation is almost the same. Increase airspace with destruction, whereas increase in airspace without destruction, that is overinflation. So it is like if you are blowing a balloon, if it gets bursted, or you have not destroyed the wall, in this case you are destroying the wall. So inflation, overinflation of a balloon, that is beyond its limit, that what particular size till which you can blow the balloon. But if you are overinflating it, putting more air into it, that condition is overinflammation, inflation, whereas emphysema is destruction of the wall of alveoli. Now this is an X-ray. I think so you might be able to visualize some shadows of it. And this is a PA view and a lateral view. This one is the PA view and this one is the lateral view of chest radiography in patients suffering from chronic bronchitis and COPD. Chronic bronchitis and emphysema are present. So presenting a complaint of emphysema, I can say COPD exactly. So there is a depression in the level of diaphragm. First of all, we need to see that the diaphragms have been depressed till a certain limit, and retrosternal spaces, these are the retrosternal spaces, this white portion you can see here, retrosternal space has been increased, there is an increase in the retrosternal space. Also you can see the lateral view here. The AP diameter has been increased. What is the AP diameter? This diameter would be increased, and this is one of the reasons for barrel shaped chest. We'll discuss about the barrel shaped chest also, but the AP diameter increases. Also there is an increase in the retrosternal space and flattened diaphragm. You have studied this in anatomy and in physiology, that the diaphragm is a dome shaped structure. Whereas in such cases you will find that the dome has been flattened to much of an extent. Now the classification, we have 4 types: centriacinar, panacinar, paraseptal, also defined as the distal one, mixed and unclassified, or it is also termed as irregular. I will jump to the slide where all the 4 are being represented. Have a good look at it, how they are different. The first one is centrilobular, that is, it is situated at the terminal bronchiole. The TB there is representing the terminal bronchiole, and the terminal alveoli is less affected. Whereas in panlobular, you can see whole of the alveoli is affected. Then comes the paraseptal. And lastly, it is the irregular one, where no definite pattern can be seen. Now let us jump to the discussion of each one of them. That is starting from the centrilobular. This is how the normal SNI looks like. Okay, so this is a normal structure. Whereas for the this one is centriacinar and this is the panacinar. Here you can see only some portions of it gets affected, whereas here the whole of the alveoli, even including the alveolar duct, gets affected. So centriacinar, dilatation of the respiratory bronchioles. Which lobes are usually affected? There are the upper lobes which are severely infected, can coexist with chronic bronchitis, invariably will occur in smokers. It is the smokers which are most affected. Then coal mine workers may also get affected. So I said you occupational diseases are also involved. Certain occupational diseases like coal mine workers, asbestos workers, silicosis is also one of the disease caused by such inhalation. So invariably it's prominently maximum are smokers. So this is how the microscopic view looks like of the centriacinar. I don't think so it would be very clear to you. Then comes the panacinar emphysema. Whole of the acinus, that is the alveoli, uniformly gets affected. Here, as in contrast to the centrilobular, here the lower lobes, where earlier we saw that the upper lobe was affected, here the lower lobes get severely involved. Its association can be obviously, as we have said, that cigarette smokers or the smokers are the prominent reason behind it. Alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency can also be related to spread or prevalence of panacinar emphysema. Then comes the paraseptal, localized along pleura and peripheral part of the acini, predisposed to spontaneous pneumothorax, adjacent to foci of fibrosis, and this one is some of the least common. So you can understand this is somewhat which is peripheral in region, it's not centrally located within the lungs, somewhat around the pleural membranes. Second, it can be found if there was some foci or fibrosis occurred due to any injury to the lung, then they can be found around that and it's very less common. So then comes the mixed or the irregular one. There is one of the most common, it's least significant at how it occurred, common around the scar tissue, and it's a combination of different types. So mixed means you can find centrilobular, whereas panacinar and the other one also, the paraseptal also. This is how it looks like. That is the mixed one. You can see some are completely involved. Centriacinar and paraseptal, both are visible in this. This one is centriacinar and this is paraseptal. As you can see, it's located at the margins of lung. If you can see here, see usually this, if you see the tissue somewhat here, you can see the walls of alveoli are intact. But if you visualize in these areas, the walls of alveoli has been destroyed. So only this particular area seems to be healthy. It's not affected. Also this area is also not affected. You can see all the walls intact. But many spaces you can see the walls has been destroyed. So air space has been increased but the surface area is reduced. Now comes the pathogenesis. We'll discuss about the pathogenesis of emphysema in the next lecture. Thank you.